I am aware that there are some of our friends right now working in their kitchen. So I would like to invite every one of us also enjoy wholeheartedly this atmosphere, also for our friends. And for those who feel not so well, then cannot come. And we also enjoy for them. You look very beautiful. Maybe you may like to look around a little bit and look at each other's eyes and smile. Yeah. And we feel very lucky and fortunate to be cozily together, to be very cozy and warm together in this hall, in this very cold weather. And I think you also experiencing the ease and the feeling of resting, the feeling of ease in our body and in our mind in this moment. So we have nothing to do right now, just sitting together. And Daniel will invite 3 sounds of the bell for us to start the sharing this morning. And I invite you to listen to the sound, bring all of our attention to the sound from its very beginning to its very, very end. And maybe he may give a little bit pause for us, a little bit silence for us after each sound, so that we can also experience the pause between the 2 sounds of the bell. Dear respected Thầy, dear beloved community, today the 7th of December, year 2017, we are in Lower Hamlet in the day of mindfulness for lay people. And in the same line of the sharing from the last Sunday, today we are going to look deeply all together how to put the teaching of the 7 factors of enlightenment into practice, into reality, how it's related to our daily activities, and how we generate the energy, the effort, the perseverance in ourselves, as well as help our friends. And first I would like to read for you one of Thay's poems that I like very much. Thay wrote this poem when he was very young, and during the time of Vietnam War. And this is a way Thay practiced to nourish himself. Even confronted with many difficult situations, even he was betrayed by his friends, by his brother in the Buddhist association, as well as his friends in the society. But he kept his aspiration. That what he shared is even I am betrayed, but I want to still to love. I want to still to help. And that's what he lived his life. And I was and I am very inspired by this poem. And living in the community, sometimes we met the difficult situations. And whenever I remember of this memories of our teacher, I believe in myself that I can overcome, that I can continue to love. I can be able to continue to love. So this poem called Here Are My Hands. Here are my hands, let me give them back to you. But I pray they will not be crushed again. I have returned, docile, surrendered, without rancor at this great suffering. I was born under your star. I was born for you. I was born to live 10,000 lives with the heart of a child. Here are my hands that are also my heart, my mind, my life, all that remains. Their sole power is having bled on the flesh of love. Here are my hands. Let me give them back to you. Remember, Mother taught us to love. Withered grass on tombs, even so the blooming roses. For them, as for everything, love is the immaculate morning dew. Here are my hands. With bowed head, I give them to you. Look, the old wounds have yet to heal. Their blood is still fresh. And on the fingertips, your soul may rest. as the dew rests, glistening on the trampling blades of grass. Here are my hands, reborn once again, but still carrying old wounds. And here is my smile, because I never hated. And here is my heart, my pure heart, from days gone by. Here are my hands, brought back to you, unhealed beneath their bandage. I pray they will not be crushed again, and I beg the stars to be my witness. In the time of Vietnam War, they have also the very good relationship with the young people. And there's one time that Thai student, monastic and lay, the young people asked him that, do you have any hope in the ending of the war? Shall the war end? Because the situation in Vietnam at that time was very dark. And the young people was losing their hope. And I was very moved when I heard Thai tell us this story. At that time, Thai also felt that hopeless in his heart. But he felt that if he share the hopeless feeling out, then this will suppress the young people's heart too. So he breathed, he take a pause and breathe very deeply. And he answered that life is impermanent and war is also impermanent. We need to nourish our hope. We need to have faith in our soul, in our people, in our country. And by that way, they nourish his energy. And he's also shared lately with the Sangha that one of his secret that he always nourish the energy. And he never let his energy dry out by any reason. So sometimes we feel very tired and we also have the feeling to give up. I don't want to do it anymore. It's too much for me. And the practice of effort that we have heard from the last Sunday, for me, there's something that there's something that I see I practice in my whole life. I'm learning to understand a little bit more about how to maintain the practice with joy, how to practice joyfully, and how to not get bored in the practice and in the life, in the community. In the poem, he was talking about the two hands, and he shared that these two hands is to us to contribute, to help, to love, not to destroy, not to betray. So whenever I'm sad, I usually look at my hand. And this is also the practice that Thầy reminds us many times, that looking at our hands, we can see our ancestors. And they have a lot of faith in the young generation. And they also have a lot of faith in his ancestors too. And when he said that this is not poem, this is my flesh and bones. This is my life. And that's also his message too. When talking about energy, diligence, or effort in the practice, that I always see is it concerning to the joy, the happiness that we cultivate here and there in our life. And in Buddhism, we always learning the factor of energy or effort or diligence along with joy and ease. And there's many sources that bring to diligence, bring to energy. For example, by just thinking about our beloved ones, who we have very good relationship, who we have a lot of joy and happiness too, we may already cultivate energy in ourselves. And there's many sources of the energy that we may gain in our life. And one of those are mindfulness, investigation, and faith. And in our society, many young people lose their hope, lose their faith in life, and they feel very lonely. They find no meaning in life. And they always remind us that we need to help the young people to find life energy, to find meaning in their lives. And I think that's why you come here, and that's why I become a monastic. I didn't really know my aspiration when I ordained. I ordained when I was 18, and I didn't really understand why I choose this path. I just like it. I remember I just felt that I like it. And at my age at that time, my friends suffered already. I'm very fortunate. I grew up in the family, like quite happy in general. But my friends, I don't know why, but just like 18, but they have a lot of difficulties and suffering with their parents, their brothers and sisters, their friends. And when I see them like struggle with difficulties and suffering, I feel very sorry. And I remember one of the wish that come up in my heart at that time, that I want to see them happy. I want to see people smiling. I want to see people being happy, playing with each other and giving each other nice words, and helping each other. And I like to see that. And I told my friend that, well, I think becoming a monastic can help. I think I can find the way. I will show you how to handle with your feelings. I will show you how to resolve your difficulty suffering with your parents. And I just thought very innocently that I would get enlightenment after some years. And that aspiration still in my heart until now. I feel I'm a lucky person. And one of that element helped me is the faith. And the more I practice, the more I can deepen my faith in my practice and also in my brothers and sisters too. And I would like to share with you how we generate the factor of enlightenment that we have learned. The third one, diligence or effort or energy. If any of you was here last year, you may heard about the teaching of right diligence, right? Many of you may know about this, and I would like to share this again. And we will hear about this teaching over and over. And maybe this is a challenge for you who already stay here for a long time, that how to renew yourself, how to receive the old teaching with the new heart, new eyes. Me too, I'm doing that. So this is familiar, okay? In Buddhist psychology, the ancestor and also our teacher would like to present the mind, the function of our mind, into 8 parts. We call 8 consciousnesses, and the very basic one is thought consciousness, and this is the mind consciousness, and the eyes consciousness, the ear consciousness, the tongue consciousness, the nose consciousness, and the body consciousness, and this is the manas. And in the teaching of the right diligence, suppose that we have one wholesome seed in our store consciousness, and if it's manifest in our mind consciousness, it's become a very pleasant formation. For example, the seed here, named like love, then if the seed of love manifests in our mind consciousness, we are a loving person. It is easy to contact with others. We can feel good. We can, like, people feel easy to approach to us, and etc. This very pleasant feeling. And in the teaching of the right diligence, what we should do is we try to keep this beautiful gas as long as possible in our living room. Sometimes we call the mind consciousness just as the living room in our house. We have a very beautiful room, beautiful living room, and we have very a nice, easygoing guest. Then our tendency is trying to keep her as long as possible. Please stay behind. Bring a cup of tea, and what is going on with you? And this story will nourish ourselves and also nourish this friend. Is that correct? So our friend also feel happy, and then this seed, when it's become a formation, it's become bigger. And when it's come back to this store consciousness, it's become bigger. And we day by day become like easy to touch the seed of love in our store consciousness. And the second practice of right diligence is, suppose we also have the seed of wholesomeness, the wholesome seed that stay in the store consciousness, but it doesn't have the opportunity to manifest in the mind consciousness yet. And the practitioner should learn different ways how to invite this seed manifests in the mind consciousness and become also the wholesome action or wholesome words, etc. We all have the seed of mindfulness, and maybe when you stay there at home or at your work, you feel very difficult to be mindful. But when you stay in Plum village, you don't know how, but it's quite easy for you or for us too, quite easy for every one of us to water the seed of mindfulness, and also to have the seed of mindfulness manifest in the mind consciousness. And we start to walking slowly, walking joyfully, and also to help others to do the same. And our way is to find different ways to help the seed to manifest to have the wholesome seed to manifest in the mind consciousness. And the third is, suppose we have the unwholesome seed lying in our store consciousness, and is manifest when it's manifest in the mind consciousness. It's become the For example, we all have the seed of anger, and at least right now in this hall, I hope that no one get angry. I don't have anger right now, but it doesn't mean that I don't have the seed of anger. 2 weeks ago, about 2 weeks ago, I was shouting at one of my younger sisters. It's like for many years that I never get angry. Yeah, sure. Believe me. For many years I never get angry. But then 2 weeks ago there's like many things running in the group of the sister about something. And there's one day, the day that the Sangha go to have apple picking. You remember? Huh? Then I go to the apple picking too, and I get back with the sister after we finish. And in the morning, there's a sister came to me and say, Thuần, we need to do this. Would you like to support this? And she told me whatever she want me to support that plan. And I see is unreasonable. But then I still keep calm at that time, and I say, well, sister, I think it's unreasonable. I feel that I don't want to support this. So okay, peace still remain. But in the like midday, there's another sister came to me and asked me and tell me the same thing, exactly the same thing, and asking for my support. Yeah, because it's relating to my responsibility in the Sangha. That's why they should ask my idea. Okay, I listened to her. A little bit feel irritated. But then I can be able to listen to her when until she finished. And I said, well, do whatever you like. Don't ask me anymore. So I walk away. And at that time, I already felt the anger is already here, somewhere here. So I was a little bit tired, and then I got back to my room. As in the afternoon is okay, but then after dinner, that's the third sister came. And she was telling me the same thing, exactly the same thing. Yeah, with a lot more explanation, and asked me to support. You see, sister, we should doing this, but she didn't know that the other two already told me, and I kept silent. But I felt a bomb was about to was about exploring. I closed my eyes, and when she just finished like half story, I say, "Wow!" I shout at her. Really, I shout at her with very high voice, and she said, "I told them already. You can do whatever you want to do. Don't come to me anymore, okay? Don't say anything more to me, okay?" So then I walked away and was very tired afterward. So I came back to my room and then was very exhausted. And it's just like this. I think my face was like this, exactly. So I sat in my room and then breathe, and well, I feel very lucky that we have the practice of breathing. As I sat there, and then no one came and disturbed me anymore, because the sister said that, well, it's better not to say anything with her now. So I sat there and breathing, and it's like a bit strange feeling in me that I accept myself, and I see that, wow, my limit was just like that, and when I see that I was able to accept myself, the anger would just stop right there. And I saw that she's just like the last drop of water that made the cups of water full. And she was not so lucky. I mean, the third sister. So I knew very clearly that I didn't get angry toward her. It's not because of her, just because of things that accumulate in my mind at that time about that thing going on and on in the Sangha, that we didn't find the solution yet. And me, with my responsibility, I tried to help, and I tried the best, but then it's still there. And I know it comes also because of the feeling that I cannot help. So maybe getting angry, not because of her, but because of the feeling that I am not so helpful. So in the next morning, I just released quite quick my anger, and in the next morning when we see each other in the study room, and I say, "Hi, sorry." I told her that I was not so nice to you. I shouted at you, but I didn't get angry to you. You know that, huh? And my younger sister was she's so compassionate and understandable. And she said that, well, I know you would get very tired afterward, after you shouting at me. And I said, yes. I was so tired to get angry, huh? And we just like afterward, I was be able to share with her why it's happened to me, why I feel that angry, and why, how I feel unhelpful in that situation. And yeah, it's just amazing. It's very nice experience, and it's just like a bit strange for me that I didn't demand myself. I don't know why, but maybe after a while of practicing, I can accept myself easier. I can understand myself and accept my limits easier. I'm sure that if like 10 years ago, I would suffer because of that. I must demand myself, I must want to punish myself, I would blame myself that you're not a good sister, you're not a good practitioner, etc. But it's like nourish me, then I see that, well, I have practice. I have my practice, and I feel lucky that we stay in the Sangha, and we support each other by these kind of practices. So try as soon as possible to invite these friends to come down, to come down to store consciousness. Try by many ways. Like breathing, by all kind of practices, that breathing, walking, or even the presence of a dear friend, a presence of another practitioner there, and we can share that we need support. And the fourth is like also suppose we have the unwholesome seed in our store consciousness, and when it doesn't have the opportunity to manifest in the mind consciousness yet, then we try our best to prevent this unwholesome seed to manifest. So tell our unwholesome seeds that, dear one, stay there. Just stay there. And with this practice, I see that if we can learn to understand our mind, then it's much easier for us to practice. For some of us will get difficulty or will get like easy emotional, easy angry or easy irritated by something, by some certain things. And by the practice of looking deeply, we can understand more about ourselves. Maybe some of us will get we will make easy feel lonely when we receive certain behavior, certain or certain eyes looking, or certain words, or certain types of people. So when we understand about ourselves in that way, we know that is our witnesses, that we need to protect ourselves from that. Yeah. And we don't want to challenge ourselves with these kind of like witnesses in ourselves. Just like me, I perceive myself as a joyful person, not angry person. But then that experience like surprised me, and I accept that I have anger in me, and it can manifest, yeah, here and there, and it helped me to understand myself more. It's helped me to be aware more about the seed of anger, the seed of unwholesome in my store consciousness. And there's another kind of the teaching that that can support us in the practice of cultivating more energy, cultivating more diligence. It is a practice of right diligence. And I would like to share about the practice of the four conditions. So, all phenomena can be explained in the way that they base on these four conditions to become, or to form. With these 4 conditions, one like good habit energy or not so good habit energy to become. So if we can learn with each other this teaching and try to apply in our own experience, when we come here, we learn with each other to do some new habit, activity in our daily life. For example, one of that is like waking up early. I think many of you find a bit difficult to wake up early, right? And we have like heard that, okay, when we wake up in the morning, we take time to wake up. We sit up on our bed and smile and read the Gatha. Waking up this morning, I smile. And do you smile when you wake up this morning? How many of you can already smile when you wake up this morning? Wow, thank you. That's very nice. But sometimes even I wake up like quite early in the morning, not so early, 5 or 4:30. But then sometimes it was very tired to wake up and sitting on the bed with this face. And then when I see that, I read the Gatha in my mind. Wake up this morning, I smile. And I see that my mind smiled to myself at that time, but my face is just like this. So that is one of the habits that we would like to do when we stay in Plum Village, waking up early and have a very prepare ourselves for a good mood to start the day. And based on these 4 conditions, we can help ourselves, we can help others, we can help our friend to make the new habit. So the first one is seed as condition. In this store consciousness, there's all kind of seed. Not only anger here, or despair, or hopeless, or suspicion, depression, but also the seed of mindfulness, of happiness, of faith, of concentration, joy, equanimity, etc. So all kind of seed as there in our store consciousness. And if we would like to make some new habit, some new good habit, for sure that we have that seed already in our store consciousness. What we need to do is to have faith in our store consciousness and call the right seed that we would like to water up. And the second condition is object as condition. The object here is like, for example, we have the seed of mindfulness, and we would like to practice mindfulness. We already have Thầy always say that when we are mindful, it's always we are mindful of something. The object here is like mindfulness of walking, mindfulness of eating, mindfulness of talking, and all these we call object as condition. And the third condition we call condition of continuity. Oh, sorry. The third is supporting condition. In this supporting condition, we have advantages condition and disadvantages condition. For example, when we are here and we would like to practice mindfulness, and there's all kind of good conditions to help us, like friends, like the sisters, the brothers, the environment, the practices, the teachings, etc. And all these things like kind of support us to help us to grow mindfulness, grow the energy of mindfulness. But also there are another condition which is disadvantage. For example, like you have some sickness that prevent you to go to the sitting meditation with the Sangha. That when you feel sick, you feel a bit lonely, and you feel a bit apart from the Sangha, and we feel sad, etc. And somehow, the disadvantaged condition can strengthen our aspiration. One of the very disadvantaged conditions that was really quite difficult for me, but then helped me a lot in my practice, that about my dad. My dad passed away when I was 11, and he was a very active and energetic man, and a very helpful person. Somehow I feel that I received this the difficulty, something that unfulfilled in my dad, that I unfulfilled feeling from my dad. Somehow I feel that I received that seed, the seed of being not so satisfied with something that he would like to do. And sometimes I see that that seed come up in me, and it's water the seed of sadness, the seed of giving up, the seed of hopeless in me. And in daily life, it seems not to things happen around me. It seems that it doesn't touch that seed much, but then it's water that seed in me. And when I recognize that, I was very aware of my interaction with others. When I see that it was about to, I am about to water that seed, I practice to close my senses. Especially I practice not to contact to that person a lot more. just to protect myself, because I see my witnesses. I see that I will get sad very easily after I talking with this person for a while. And it's happened sometime, and it's helped me to recognize that. So I try, it's not kind of avoiding a lot, but I try to protect myself. I try not to just receive everything from him, which is water the unwholesome seed in me. And somehow that feeling helped me to try a bit more in my practice. Sometimes I talk to my dad in myself that Daddy, I want to do this for you. I want to overcome this for you. And I already continue, don't worry. And my brothers already continue what you have not done in the past. I talk to my dad in myself like that. And that I see that strength, that good, love that I had toward my dad support me in this practice. That I want to keep myself strong. I want to keep myself faithful to my practice, to my life. And it's happened many times for many of us that the disadvantaged condition becomes supporting condition. And it's kind of train ourselves with the ill, it have to train ourselves with to support, to strengthen our aspiration, our bodhicitta. And my practice is whenever I receive or I confront with the difficult situations, that I would like to take a pause, just like we take a pause when we listen to the sound of the bell. I would like to give myself a bit more space and not react right away, and to see what's happened to me, and not to turn myself become a victim right away. There's a teacher in the US, when he practiced mindfulness, he shared that he practiced to give himself time enough to pause, have enough pause before whatever happening in his life. And by this way, he see that he can easier to practice mindfulness and become a better husband, a better father. And Thầy also share about this practice a lot, and one of that is asking ourselves, "Are you sure? Are you sure what happened to ourselves?" Or we see that, oh, he's going to blame me. She's going to think that about me. So when this happens, or our mind talking in that way, we can practice to take a pause and ask ourselves, am I sure? And the other thing I like a lot is wait and see. Okay, Sister Thuần, Sister TK, wait and see. I told myself many times that, hey TK, wait and see. And sometimes it's turn my mind into a very joyful and funny state that I can perceive things differently. And I don't really want to become a victim, of anyone. So this is my mantra: wait and see. And are you a victim? I don't want to become a victim. Maybe Do you remember to take a pause after the sound of the bell? Okay, the fourth condition, that the condition of continuity. This is one of the quality of Plum village practices. There's 3 foundation of Plum village practices. Is present moment. I'll translate from Vietnamese in my head. And drawing happily. And continuity. Many people, especially in Vietnam, they say that Plum Village master, Plum Village Zen master doesn't teach much. He teach about breathe and smile. Too simple. It's not kind of high meditation. It's bring to nowhere. So when especially in Vietnam, many people would like to learn and to know about the profound teachings, and they think that the practice of breathing and smiling is too easy, it's too simple, and the condition of continuity is like answer for me. Is this answer for this kind of comment? Even Thầy never answer this comment. It's very simple, it's very easy, but when we do continuous, every day, every hour, every minute, it's not so easy at all. It's not so easy to remember our breathing all day long, right? So Thầy is very compassionate, and Thầy share with us that, dear ones, if you are able to take one mindful step per day, then you are already worthy to eat, to stay in the Buddha's house. When I heard that, I feel, okay, good, I can do it. But then it's not sure. There are some days that I cannot take any mindful step. So for us, or for you, then please take at least one mindful step for one day. And maybe just one time to remember breathing mindfully. And the practice of walking mindfully, like kind of practice for my whole life. Every winter retreat, I make a vow. Okay, dear Buddha, dear Thầy, I would like to practice this a lot. And maybe when you read my aspiration letter, you might think that, oh, Sister TK is a good practitioner. But not sure. One thing is I make contract to the path from my room to bathroom, and that is like challenging, the most challenging path for me, because I go to the bathroom like many times, and yes, I go to bathroom many times. Even my sister say that, what you doing here? I see you all the time in the bathroom. And I thought, well, yeah, what I'm doing there? And I told myself, I really I really look deeply into this, and I see that, well, in the future, if there is a place that I will get enlightenment, it may be the bathroom. Okay, so the path I go from my room to the bathroom is quite short. It's just like 40 or 50 steps. But it challenges me every day. Every morning, every early morning, I just recognize that I walk a little bit fast. This day, maybe because of the weather, it was so cold. And I want to get there as quick as possible and come back as quick as possible. So I choose that to make the contract with. And it really reminds me about the practice of continuity. So when we would like to, every one of us would like to remain practice, would like to keep our practice like steadily and happily all the time. But then in my experience that we may choose just some. And if we can achieve, we can like become a bit better in one thing, we can easier to do another thing. So with this 4 conditions, when we would like to make a new habit, and we would like to maintain our practice of mindful breathing, conscious breathing, then we see that it can be able to train our mind, to train our body in this way. And we always like to practice diligence to keep our energy, but it always need to go along with ease and joy. If we try, meditation is not kind of like hard labor, and we try too hard to do sitting meditation or to do walking meditation or to like practice eating in silence, but our mind is caught in the idea that I need to be diligent. I have to do this, I have to do that. Why that person don't practice, etc. Then we create more difficulty in our mind. We prevent our mind from liberation, from freedom. As long as I practice and stay in the community with my sisters, with our lay sisters, I see that I train myself to be more free in my practice, to accept myself more. And there's a sutra, 2 sutras that the Buddha has taught about this. And when I read this sutra, I feel very moved, because before the sutra got enlightenment, he tried so hard. He tried so hard to practice and to find many different ways to train his mind to get enlightenment, to find a way to practice and to get enlightenment. And I see that, wow, we are so lucky. We have already the path, and we are also so lucky with our teacher, with all this very clear teaching that we just follow and put it into practice. Okay, let's try it. Like for example, this teaching, me myself have tried it sometime, and it's helped me a lot in my practice. And I feel very grateful to the Buddha and our teacher that they just like kind of cook everything already, and even put it on the serving table, and we just come and eat. Wow, so lucky. But then there are some of us don't want to eat. But no, it doesn't fit me. For me, then I see sometimes I'm like that. It's not so docile daughter, and want to walk away from our parents. And in this sutra, the Buddha share the Dharma for the people who come to ask about how he tries so hard to train his mind and not successful, not be successful. Because when he practiced so diligent, but he see that there is no ease and joy in his body, then he give up that practice. And I would like to read just one paragraph for you. It is from the sutra called Sangarava Sutta. And in this sutra, the Buddha share the Dharma, share the way he practiced, the way he meditated, the way he trained his mind before his enlightenment to a young man, a Brahmin, Sangarava. Parabhaja, it occurred to me, what if I press the upper jaw on the lower jaw, with the tongue pressing on the palate, pushed out, expelled and burnt up thoughts in my mind? Then even while sweat was dripping from my armpit, I pressed the upper jaw on the lower jaw, with the tongue pressing on the palate, pushed out, expelled and burnt up thoughts in my mind. Like a strong man taking hold of a weaker one, would press him and worry him. In the same manner, I pressed the upper jaw on the lower jaw, with the tongue pressing on the palate, pushed out, expelled and burnt up thoughts in my mind. While sweat was dripping from my armpits, my effort was aroused repeatedly, and the unconfused mindfulness established. The body was not appeased, woven to the difficult exertion. So even the Buddha tried so hard to meditate, to press the mind, use the mind to press the mind, but he didn't succeed in his meditation, and he changed. and afterward he accepts the ease and the happiness in his body. So the ease and happiness, the joy, and the relaxing in the body must be cultivated while our meditation, while our effort. So whenever if we see that we practice, but we have like no joy, we don't feel joyful, we don't feel relaxed in our practice, please take a pause and look back to your practice. Maybe you tried too hard. You can take time to just stop a little bit, to take a pause and look back. For me, this is like very essential for every one of us. Sometimes we have the tendency to achieve something as quick as possible, right? Sometimes we would like to succeed, would like to finish something, and we try too hard and we lose our happiness and ease. And also there's another sutra in the same line called Shachaka Sutta, the longer discourse to Sakkataka. I thought, suppose that I clenching my teeth and pressing my tongue against the roof of my mouth were to beat down, constrain, and crush my mind with my awareness. So clenching my teeth and pressing my tongue against the roof of my mouth, I beat down, constrained, and crushed my mind with my awareness. Just as a strong man, seizing a weaker man by the head, or the throat, or the shoulders, would beat him down, constrain and crush him. In the same way, I beat down, constrained, and crush my mind with my awareness. As I did so, sweat poured from my armpits, and although tireless, persistence were aroused in me, and unmuddled mindfulness established. My body was aroused and uncalm because of the painful exertion. So the Buddha is also a practitioner, and he had tried a lot of ways to find the appropriate way for him to get enlightenment. And we are now all practitioners, and we are trying to find ways to apply the teaching in our practice, in our daily lives. And please, when I share about the practice of diligence, please take it easy. And not to think that being diligent is just like we meditate day and night. There are some friends who come to Plum Village and they feel, well, you do less meditation here compared to another centers. Because we just do like 30 minutes of sitting meditation in the morning, right? But not every day. We have lazy day. And for the evening, we just have like 3 times sitting in the evening, 30 minutes, that's it. We have lazy nights, 2 lazy nights. So it's not a lot, sitting meditation like formally, but then we practice every day with ease, with joy. And if you stay in Plum Village, please allow yourself to feel this, to take this practice, to take this unformed practice in Plum Village. Then it's nourished you a lot. I like to play with my mind. And one of the things is I do for myself, like for my words, kind of novice until now, and it's nourished me a lot. That I imagine that person is myself. Then I will see that what I feel in her shoes. What I feel if I were Stephanie. What I feel if I was like Paloma. So I feel like quite funny, quite interesting in myself. And one of the other things is I believe in the beauty of people. I like to keep this. Sometimes I become a bit too innocent and a bit like too easy. There's one of my older sisters told me that you look like you never have suffering, huh? You look like you never get angry. You look like you never been sad. I didn't understand why they told me that until I got suffered. When I suffer, then I understand why I was able to smile a lot like that when I was young. Maybe I was transmitted this from my mother. My mother is a very joyful person, and she smiles all the time. She laughs all the time. But then I see that the seed of joy in me can be strengthened, can be watered by the presence of others. And from that point, I would like to practice to water the seed of joy in others too. And one of the things is I don't want to nourish the resentment for anyone. Even living in the community, I just be able to be close with just some sisters. It's not, I cannot like be close friend with everyone, but I accept myself that I can be close with some sister. I can share from my heart with some sister, but I don't want to keep the resentment to anyone. I don't want to keep difficulty with anyone. And I believe, I have faith in the people's nature of beauty. And I always share with my younger sister that, do you know that we all would like to make others happy? If we know that everyone else try their best, if we are aware that everyone already have tried their best, then we don't feel irritated when someone have done something not so nice, not so perfect. Yeah. And I would like to practice to keep that awareness in my heart, that she has done her best. He has tried his best. That's enough. For me, that's enough. Because I see that I'm doing my best. And when I see that I'm doing my best, I don't want to demand myself more. So when we have when we practice diligent, please at the same time water the seed of ease, of joy, also in our mind, also in ourselves, in our friends. There's a sister who like gardening a lot in Lower Hamlet. There's many our long-term friends also love gardening. When I first came to Lower Hamlet was not so clean and neat like now. It was like a bit wild. In the garden, there's a lot of grass. Well, I like it anyway. But then I also like garden. There's a sister who like gardening a lot in Lower Hamlet, and she shared that she's received the seed of gardening from her father. Yeah, her father liked to garden. And her father, when he was a little girl, he usually sat on his father's knees and smelled the smoke of the leaves. That he just like coming back from the garden and burning the dry leaves, and she can smell that smoke. And she enjoying sitting on the knees of her father and listening to the story about garden from her father. And she remembered that her father always told her that, to plant a tree or to sow a seed, you need to find an appropriate spot with like kind of sun or not sun or half sun or full sun, and the right manure, the right season, the right time to put it down, water a bit, and that's it. And let the earth take care, let the seed take care of itself, let the tree take care of itself, and it will grow by itself. And when I heard this story, I feel very nourished. And I see that is the same way when we would like to sow some good seed in our store consciousness. If we sow the seed of liberation in our store consciousness, okay, put it there and give it space and time. And suppose that there's a person who sowed the seed of liberation, freedom in in the earth. And she's because of over caretaking, because of curiosity. After 2 days, she comes out and dig it up and see whether the seeds sprout or not. Okay? Not sprout? Okay, put it back again. And after 3 more days, she get out and dig it up again and see whether the seed sprout or not. Haven't sprouted yet? Okay, put it down. And she have doubt in her mind that maybe it's not good with this. It doesn't work with this kind of practice. So this is, I just like give the example to tease my younger sisters in the class. We learn together the class about the Buddhist psychology. I learn with my younger sister. Yeah, we learn from Thai and we have sharing. And many younger sisters of mine, they ask a question that, I have tried a lot to do this or to do that, But it doesn't happen, as you said. I cannot reconcile with that sister yet. How can I do? So I kept silent and I asked her, have you dig up the soil and take the seed up? And she stared at me and she didn't understand what I'm saying. Do you stare at me and say what I'm saying? So I said that, well, the reconciliation, the understanding between you and the sister, and that sister, just like the seed. It's just like the seed. When you put it in the soil of the mind, it needs time and space. It needs 4 conditions to grow. Okay, the seed already there. The object of your contemplation, of your love, is already there. And the Sangha, your practice, is supporting you. Do you continue to keep your practice? Do you continue to water your seed? Then you ask a question and then you have doubt about the practice. So for me, the faith in our practice is very important. We need to give ourselves enough time and space. And just do it. Just do it. We don't need to dig up and look into our seed and asking ourselves that whether our seeds sprout or not. Just doing it. I remember I spent until now, the most difficult moment, the most difficult experience that I spent and practiced with, it need more than 3 years. Yeah. My seed of forgiveness to the one who made me suffer, it need 3 years, more than 3 years, to sprout. Yeah. And at that time, I remember it's not so easy. It's very challenging. I was 28, 29 years old at that time. And at the same time, I was in the CTC. CTC is like caretaking council, kind of like the group of the sister who take care of the Sangha, who take care of the activities in the Sangha. We call CTC. I was in the CTC and took care of some classes for the younger sisters, and also to assist my older sister to be mentor for the aspirants. It was quite a lot for me at that time, and I just received the fully ordained for more than 1 year, and with this very deep and strong suffering in then I have no way to practice. I remember that time. Either practice or dry out of energy. So I have no way to choose. And I just practice and practice. During the day, I do the work for the Sangha or running some activities for the Sangha. That block of suffering was like always there, just like the fire in my belly. It's on all the time, and I have no way to choose but practice. I do it like kind of day and night. And I remember sometime it was so pity for that young lady. I was a sister. I was young sister, like very exhausted from the whole activity from the day. And at 10:30 at night p.m. I got to the meditation hall and practiced touching of the earth. And some nights it was so tired and sleepy, and I slept in the position of touching of the earth. And I slept there until like 2 a.m. It was very deep sleep, and I woke up, didn't recognize where I was. Sometimes I remember those memories, and I feel I love myself a lot. And I say thank you to myself that I didn't give up. Yes, we have faith in our practice, and sometimes we need to just continue. Just continue. Do not give up. The store consciousness is not our own store consciousness. This store consciousness, like collective store consciousness. And what I recognize is that I didn't do it for myself only. I didn't just like lonely do it for myself. My sister was supporting me. Thầy was supporting me. The Buddha, the Sangha, the spiritual strength of our ancestor was supporting me. When I was able to overcome that suffering, then my faith in the practice deepened and stronger a lot. And until now, I can tell you that I would like to be a happy nun. I want to live my monastic life as a happy person. And I wish you also to take this practice and to become a happy person too. And the last thing before we end is I would like to ask you that which seeds you would like to sow in your garden of mind. Which seed you would like to have to sprout, so that you can bring you happiness and bring happiness also to your beloved ones. And I wish every one of us have enough faith, enough energy in our path. And I would like to remind again Thay's secret, that Thay always nourish himself. And Thay doesn't let his energy dry out. So that is what I would like to share today. Thank you so much for your patience. And thank you so much for your acceptance and smiles. I see that there are some Italian friends there. Hello. Okay, we will listen to the 3 sounds of the bell, and we end here. And I wish you have a very happy and joyful day together.